The number one excuse for not getting something done is I didn't have enough time. It's a statement that I have said, it's a statement that you have said, but research shows that the average person can be doing a lot more than they are doing right now. Whenever you think of someone who's accomplished something great, they didn't have more time than you. So we need to kill this notion that we need more time in our day. We all get the same 24 hours. And the difference is in what we actually do with the time that we are given. Whenever I think of time management, I think of energy management. Take your car, for instance. Most cars get a gas range of 350 to 450. Some get more, some get less. If you were to fill up your tank and aimlessly drive around without purpose or intention, what do you think is eventually going to happen? The easy answer is you're going to run out of gas and you're going to have to hope that you either have AAA or you got a friend with a gas can to come and get you. Conversely, let's say you fill up your tank, but you are very strategic and intentional about where you're driving. I bet you your gas lasts longer. I bet you you're not worried about AAA. And I bet you don't have to call a friend to come and get you because you were intentional and strategic about how you were using your miles. Well, each and every day, we start with 350 to 450 miles. Some have more, some have less. On the days we use our miles towards things, towards people, and towards decisions that drain us, we expend unnecessary energy and end up in dire need of a refill. Ultimately, it's our goal to keep all elements of our life under control. And that is really the importance of time management, is being in a place where you feel structured and you feel organized and you feel in control of your life. However, the only way to gain control is for you to have active planning and develop systems. Systems are vital in life. A system is an energy protector. A system is something that you put in place that protects you from using an unnecessary amount of energy. Now, when it comes to time management, I want to cover 4 challenges that you and I face. The very first one is a difficulty in prioritizing tasks. Every single thing that you have to get done can be assigned to a priority level. The truth is, the things that you want to get done are not all on the same priority level. They can't be. And we have to get to the point where we stop lying to ourselves that every single thing is important. If everything is important, it in turn means nothing is important. So we really want to focus in and dial in on our priorities and putting every single thing in our life within its rightful place. We need to look at all that we have to get done and then put it within our own personalized ranking system. Now, there are so many systems that are already out there that you don't even have to reinvent the wheel here. You can just choose one and see how it works for you. It's going to take you being consistent, but you can just choose what's already out there. One of the ones I like is in Lee Cockerell's Time Management Magic book. And in that book, Lee tells us to put all of our tasks and all the things we have to get done either in the urgent, vital, important, or low value column. Urgent, of course, are the things that have to get done right away. Vital are the things that if you do not take care of, it will eventually come back to hurt you. Important are the things that are moving you forward and closer to your goals. And low value are just the things that you do just because. They don't add a lot of value, but it's something that you do or something that you want to do. And what this system would require is you doing a brain dump and then just assigning everything that you list out to one of those 4 categories. There's also the Eisenhower matrix, which is in 4 categories as well. But really, they all do the same thing, which is having you put your thoughts down on paper and then assigning it to a priority level. There's so many of them out there, so find one that works for you. But one of the things that I want you to hear from the beginning of this video is without a system, you will always feel like you don't have enough time. You will never feel like you're getting everything done that you're supposed to get done without a system. And we've all done the thing where we've done a lot of tasks and we're going, I feel like I'm missing something. And the reason we feel like we're missing something is because we are not being systemized. Because if we're systemized and everything is listed up and it's in a category, it's in a priority level, we can just follow the system. So my question to you is, what is your system? Do you have one? And if not, what is that system going to be? I heard Lee Cockerell say, most people are not overworked. They are under-organized. So that first challenge to overcome is a difficulty in prioritizing tasks. The second challenge is we are often stalled by frequent interruptions and distractions. So there's many of us that don't have a system at all, and so we always feel like we don't have enough time. And then there's some of us who are overwhelmed with interruptions and distractions, which causes us to not even follow the system that we put in place. One of the ways to combat this is to use time blocking, and all time blocking is choosing a certain time at which you are going to do which task. Establishing specific work hours can definitely improve your productivity. Another way to combat distractions and interruptions is create a dedicated workspace. In the book Atomic Habits, they talk about how important your environment is to completing certain tasks. It even gives the example that if you are going to work on something that's going to require a lot of your attention, you might not want to do it on the couch with the TV on. If you know you get easily distracted, don't prime your environment to distract you. Choose the best space and honor that space. Another thing that allows me to block out distractions and interruptions is I love noise canceling headphones. So if I have my noise canceling headphones, I have my work playlist where the music is soft and not overwhelming or distracting, and I put a do not disturb on my cell phone, I'm priming my environment to really get some stuff done. One of the things that I had to do when I was working on my time management is I would schedule my breaks. If ever I didn't decide when I was going to take a break, I found myself taking a break at a time when I should have been doing work. But it's weird how I was able to kind of trick my mind, where if I scheduled my break, I decided when I was going to take it, I was more productive because I would tell myself, you know what, let me go ahead and get this done. I'm about to take a break here in 5 minutes anyway. Challenge number 3 to managing our time is the classic work-life balance. I don't necessarily believe in work-life balance. And what I mean by that is we like to put up invisible barriers between our work life and our home life, but it's all your life. And what you're trying to do is make sure that you are not so overcommitted in one area that the other area fails. Now, when it comes to work, there's normally this unspoken competition. I remember I once worked a job where everyone bragged about how many hours they put in. If you weren't working 60 hours a week, they were looking at you like you'd even show up today. And so I remember once working a 75-hour week. And so it's a culture where we all brag about how many hours we work. And so now it's my turn because I pulled 75 hours. And so I'm walking through the restaurant. My chest is pumped up because I'm putting in the most hours this week. And my boss overheard me and said, "Hey, man, what are you doing?" And I said, "I don't know, man, just in here grinding. I pulled 75 hours this week. Had to do what I had to do." And he looked at me and said, "Okay, I hear you when you say you had to do what you had to do. But can I offer you a different perspective?" And mentors are always good about offering you a different perspective. He said, "Many of the people we work with use the hours put in as a badge of honor. Working 75 hours in a week is not a badge of honor. The badge of honor would be you being able to get the same amount of work done at the same level of efficiency within 35 to 40 hours that everyone else is getting done in 75 hours. And so we really need to be careful about overcommitting to our job. Now, I'm not talking about if you are following your purpose, which means the way you make money is every day you follow your passion and your proficiency and you serve people with it, and that's how you get your money every day. That's different. I'm talking about you working a job, which, by the way, means just over broke and over committing to that job. It's very important that you establish a healthy pattern of disconnecting from your job. Most people are not working their current job because they love the company. Now, there are some people out there that love the company they work for, and good for you. But most people are not working their current job because they are so in love with the company. Most people are working their current job in hopes of one day becoming financially free enough to do whatever it is they want to do. And it's very interesting to me that in being overcommitted to a job, you can in turn neglect the entire reason that you're working in the first place. I heard somebody say, work harder on yourself than you do your job. If you work hard on your job, you'll make a living. But if you work hard on yourself, you'll make a fortune because you are beginning to follow after your passion and your proficiency, which is ultimately your purpose. So this means that we want to begin to establish strict job boundaries, strict work boundaries. This means choosing specific times to do specific work. And if you're working a job, it might be wise for you to avoid taking work outside of those work hours that have already been established. In life, we are always teaching others how to interact with us. We are always teaching others how to treat us. And you're teaching them by what you allow to exist in your environment. And since I am always teaching someone how to treat me, since I'm always training them how to interact with me, I need to be sure to set clear, established boundaries and not allow others to take advantage of them. The thing to keep in mind, no matter if this is in your personal life or at work, one of the biggest time wasters is a lack of clear communication. Because when someone is not clear, we waste time because we have to go back and ask them what they meant. We have to go back for more clarity. Or we go on assuming that we knew what they meant, and we waste a lot of time only to come back and find out that, baby, that's not what I was talking about. That's not what I meant. George Bernard Shaw said so eloquently, the single biggest problem with communication is the illusion that has taken place. And if we decide to take time to be clear, and again, this is whether personally or professionally, if we decide to take time to be clear on the front end, we will have less issues on the back end and we will waste less time. The fourth challenge, I would say, is one of the more common ones, and that is the tendency to overcommit and take on too many responsibilities. We must learn to say no. No is a complete sentence, and you must learn to say it when necessary. You can have a time management system, but if you have too much going on, you're saying yes to everything, you still will feel like you're not getting everything done. And the issue is that you cannot fix your mouth to tell someone no. You don't want to disappoint people. But sometimes you have to disappoint them in order for you to remain efficient, in order for you to live a life that is organized. Another thought is don't allow yourself to neglect health or wellness due to the demands that are placed on you. Don't feel guilty for taking the time to do the things that feed your soul and energize your spirit. Self-care is essential for productivity. And some of you might even need to schedule your downtime. You might even need to schedule, this is the day where I am not scheduling anything. This is my day to just do what feeds my soul and what energizes my spirit. There's so much in life that can drain us that it's very important that we're leaving space for the things that do not drain us. It is also important to prioritize rest. Rest isn't a reward. Rest is a requirement. We have to shake the mentality that rest is something that you earn. Rest is something that you need, and you will never accomplish all of the things that you're wanting to accomplish without proper rest. I want you to take a second and imagine that you had a special bank account, and this bank account deposited $86,400 each morning. The account carries no balance day by day, and every evening cancels whatever portion you did not use that day. What would you do? Would you just let the money waste? Or would you draw out the money every single day? Time is that bank. Every morning, it credits you with 86,400 seconds. Every night, it writes off as lost whatever you did not use during the day. Unfortunately, it carries over no balance. It allows no overdraft. You can't borrow against yourself. And each day, that account starts fresh. With time management, we get to decide how we spend that time. And I challenge you to not waste the rest of your days, to not waste the rest of your years, but to be intentional about what you're doing with each moment of your life. Always remember that growth is a journey, not a destination. I'm in it with you, and I'll see you on the next one.